إن الموت حق. This is something we have to look for, and we've been doing this for almost a year, and it's very hard because there are so many regulations. Prices going very high in the last year, everybody knows. Excuse me. And we've been looking at many lands, and sometimes we find something reasonable, but then by the time we start the process, the land is sold, and so on. So inshallah, we just a few days ago we found a good land. They're asking for it about $100,000. Of course, we need the help of all mu'mineen to be able to achieve this amount that we still don't have, but inshallah we will. But with the help of everybody and Allah, help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we will be able to do it. Of course, there are many steps we need to go through to get approval from the city and the county and planning committees, and I mean it's a long process, but we are working on it. So inshallah, if at least the owners of the land accept, I mean we agree on the price, then we have to start the process to get the approval, and if everything works well, inshallah, we will have this land. So please, anybody, if he has in mind to help us in this project, this is very important project. Even, I mean, maybe people think, okay, we are so excited to have a cemetery, but again, in the Mawdahaq, and we have to be prepared, all of us, because we are all here temporarily. May Allah give everybody long life, and say dua for us so we can have this project achieved and fulfilled as soon as possible, inshallah. Salawat ala Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. We will find the answer within the 1 week approval from the seller while what's going on, inshallah.
So before we begin the kids program followed by the adults, I have a few announcements to make. Inshallah, Ramzan is coming up very soon, and we are going to have the Ramzan schedule sent out to everybody. But as of right now, there are some dates available. If you guys want to check the billboard or keep checking the WhatsApp, we'll have more information on that. And before we begin this program, I also want to thank the family sponsoring today's Milad on behalf of the Murtaza community, Arif Eder and his family. May Allah bless them and keep them happy and safe. So let's recite one Surah Fatiha for all of their marhumeen and marhumat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So let's recite, let's start the kids program. I want to ask if Mohib has something to recite.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum. We are all here today to celebrate the birth of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, Bibi Zainab, and Maulana Abbas alayhi salam. I'd like to congratulate Imam Zamana for this occasion. In honor of this great occasion, I will recite Imam Kabbash. Salawat.
Salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
हम हुसैन वाले हैं, हम हुसैन वाले हैं, हम हुसैन वाले हैं, हम हुसैन वाले हैं। ये हमारी किस्मत है, हम हुसैन वाले हैं, हम हुसैन वाले हैं, हम हुसैन वाले हैं। हम नबी का आशिक है, हम अली के दीवाने। हम नबी की आशिक है, ہم علی کے دیوانے اور حسن سے نسبت ہے ہم حسین والے
سبحان اللہ سبحان اللہ.
والے
جزاک اللہ.
ہم سے فاطمہ زہرا کر چکی ہے ایک وعدہ ہم سے فاطمہ زہرا کر چکی ہے ایک وعدہ اب ہماری جنت ہے
سبحان اللہ سبحان اللہ.
ہم حسین والے ہیں ہم حسین والے ہیں ہم حسین والے ہیں یا علی کی مدحت ہے یا حسین کا ماتم یا علی کی مدحت ہے یا حسین کا ماتم ہر نفس عبادت ہے ہم حسین والے ہیں
سبحان اللہ سبحان
ہم
اللہ.
حسین والے ہیں ہم حسین والے ہیں ہم بتاتے دنیا کو ہم سے پوچھتی دنیا ہم بتاتے دنیا کو ہم سے پوچھتی دنیا ہم میں کتنی لذت ہے ہم حسین والے ہیں ہم حسین والے ہیں ہم حسین والے ہیں خلق ہے مروت ہے علم فن ہے حکمت ہے خلق ہے مروت ہے علم فن ہے حکمت
سبحان
ہے
اللہ سبحان اللہ.
خون میں شرافت ہے ہم حسین والے ہیں
جزاک اللہ بیٹا. جزاک
ہم
اللہ.
حسین والے ہیں ہم حسین والے ہیں دور تک گئے موسیٰ اور کربلا تک ہم دور تک گئے موسیٰ اور کربلا تک ہم یہ ہماری رفقت ہے ہم حسین والے ہیں
جزاک اللہ.
ہم حسین والے ہیں ہم حسین والے ہیں چاہے ہم جہاں بھی ہو کربلا ہی میں آزمی چاہے ہم جہاں بھی ہو کربلا ہی میں آزمی مستقل سکونت ہے
کیا کہنے ہیں
ہم حسین والے ہیں
سبحان اللہ
ہم
سبحان
حسین والے ہیں ہم حسین والے ہیں
جیو بیٹا جیو ماشاء اللہ.
چلو
اللهم صل على محمد وآل
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Now, I don't see any other kids over here today, so I want to begin the adult program. So first, I want to ask if Alita Jad has something for us to recite.
بسم الله. حماد ہے؟
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
ایک اور صلوات کے ساتھ
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
یہ چند کرتے ہیں حضرت محمد صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم کی شان میں ملاحظہ فرمائیے شکر صد شکر ہوا غم کا ستارہ پیدا شکر صد شکر ہوا غم کا ستارہ پیدا ہو گیا ڈوبتی کشتی کا سہارا پیدا ہو گیا ڈوبتی کشتی کا سہارا پیدا کیا بتاؤں میں تمہیں تیسری شعبہ کا شرف کیا بتاؤں میں تمہیں تیسری شعبہ کا شرف ہو گیا فاطمہ کا راج دلارا پیدا اور ایک اور کہتا ہے دنیائے آرزو کا سہارا حسین ہے دنیائے آرزو کا سہارا حسین ہے اسلام کی جبی کا ستارہ حسین ہے اسلام کی جبی کا ستارہ حسین ہے اور انسانیت کی ڈوبتی کشتی کو دہر میں इंसानियत की डूबती कश्ती को दहर में जिसने बचा लिया है वो किनारा हुसैन।
बेशक बहुत
एक और हज़रत हुसैन की शान में मजलूमियत के लेके सहारे हुसैन ने, मजलूमियत के लेके सहारे हुसैन ने, दिन में दिखाए जुल्फ व तारे हुसैन ने, तूफान को रुख पछोड़ के कश्ती हयात की, तूफान के रुख पछोड़ के कश्ती हयात की, मोड़े हैं इनकलाब के धारे हुसैन ने। और ये हज़रत अब्बास का कार्टन में अब्बास का जवाब कहीं भी न मिल सका, अब्बास का जवाब कहीं भी न मिल सका, तारीख ढूंढती ही रही कायनात में,
क्या कहने
तारीख ढूंढती ही रही कायनात में, कहती थी करबला मेरे गाजी तेरे निसार, बैयत को आ रहा है डुबो कर फुरात।
MashaAllah. Now I would like to ask if Ali or Amir has anything they want to recite for us. I think it's Sam, Uncle. Do you have something that you would like to recite for us? Next, I would like to ask if Zaid Uncle has something.
क्या हुआ?
नहीं भाई और कुछ तो होगा आज तो ऐसा
सुल्तान अंकल आपके पास कुछ पढ़ने के लिए है आज नहीं? ठीक है फूफा
मेरे पास 4-5
लाओ सलावत अल्लाह
Assalamu alaikum. And I'd like to say Mubarak to everyone. I know right now we are doing in Urdu, and I like to ask everyone to please stay quiet. Please, even if it's any kind of language we're deciding, just follow that. If anybody wants to talk or anything, please go out and please go and start talking. Because we are disturbed here when we start talking. Now, salawat. May Allah bless you all. And I really want to that this work out better. And Brother Sam, thank you so much, mashallah. You update about the cemetery. We are working very hard, and inshallah, very soon we will get it. We'll get it, inshallah. And you already mentioned about the cost, and land is about like 8 acres. 8 acres, and it's a very good location. Very, very good so far we saw it, and we need your du'as. Like Brother Sam just already mentioned, and he work every time when he call his go. It's not easy, Brother Sam, like you doing, mashallah. May Allah bless you. And like we need that one, like yesterday. And inshallah, it's gonna be work out. And second thing is what I'm watching right now, in the center, we are doing every single event, every week, every month, mashallah. And we need to update a lot of stuff here with your du'as. Like mic system is not really good. We are working on it. We having upgrade this system. So inshallah, we need your dua. So before Muharram, inshallah, if it's coming up, so we can upgrade the mic system because every time we complaining, some of Maulana always say your mic system needs to be done. So inshallah, we're working on it. That's all. And I don't have really too much stuff, but in Urdu, I'm going to recite a couple of qatar. First of all, 4 मिसरे हैं बीबी ज़ैनब के। हैं तेरे हुस्न अमल के ये करिश्मे ज़ैनब, सुल्तान भाई तवज्जो चाहूंगा। हैं तेरे हुस्न अमल के ये करिश्मे ज़ैनब, पढ़ सके जिक्र शहादत मना पर्दे ज़ैनब। पढ़ सके ना जिक्र शहादत पर पर्दे ज़ैनब, मकसद शह के लिए बन गए उन्वाने हयात। मकसद शह के लिए बन गए उन्वाने हयात, तेरे आंसू तेरे सजदे तेरे खुतबे ज़ैनब। तेरे आंसू तेरे सजदे तेरे खुतबे ज़ैनब। इस तरह कुछ 4 مصرے اور اس طرح کچھ تو ادا اجر رسالت ہوگا، اس طرح کچھ تو ادا اجر رسالت ہوگا، بس یہی سوچ کے کرتا ہوں ثنائے زینب. بھئی اس طرح کچھ تو ادا اجر رسالت ہوگا، بس یہی سوچ کے کرتا ہوں ثنائے زینب. ایسا کچھ بھی نہیں ہے جو انہیں پیش کروں، توجہ چاہوں گا، ایسا کچھ بھی نہیں ہے جو انہیں پیش کروں، اشک بہا لایا ہوں آنکھوں میں برائے زینب. اینڈ یہ 4 مصرے حضرت عباس، شکریہ، حضرت عباس کی شان میں ہے، اور 4-5 شعر حضرت امام حسین کی شان میں. کتنی شائستہ پر نور ہے آج کی رات. اینڈ میں اپنے لیے نہیں کہہ رہا، جب بھی کوئی پڑھے، چاہے 2 لوگ ہوں 4 لوگ ہوں، لگے کہ مطلب خوشی کا دن ہو رہا ہے، تو پلیز وی ہیو ٹو بی نوازت سلوات ہے نعرہ حیدری. سو نعرہ حیدری. I know we're missing my Hassan bhai, and he's out of country right now. May Allah bless him. He's not feeling good, so please we need a dua for him. Inshallah, he will be come back soon. Inshallah. کتنی شائستہ پر نور ہے آج کی رات، دل فرشتوں کے دھڑکتے ہیں، دھڑکنے کی صدا آتی ہے. کتنی شائستہ پر نور ہے آج کی رات، دل فرشتوں کے دھڑکنے کی صدا آتی ہے. یہ کہیں حضرت عباس کی محفل تو نہیں، یہ کہیں حضرت عباس کی محفل تو نہیں، مجھ کو ہر سمت سے خوشبو وفا آتی ہے. نعرہ صلوات. وفا آتی ہے. واہ واہ واہ. یہ چند اشعار ہیں امام حسین علیہ السلام شان میں. شبیر دین حق کے سفینے کی روشنی. یہ سارے اشعار میں امام سرسیوی، رضا سرسیوی کے پڑھ رہا ہوں. So may Allah bless them also, and Raza Sirsavi, may Allah maghfirah for my auntie. شبیر دین حق کے سفینے کی روشنی. بخاری بھائی توجہ چاہوں گا. شبیر دین حق کے سفینے کی روشنی، شبیر عصمتوں کے نگینے کی روشنی. شبیر دین حق کے سفینے کی روشنی، شبیر عصمتوں کے نگینے کی روشنی، شبیر عظمتوں کے خزینے کی روشنی، شبیر عظمتوں کے خزینے کی روشنی، شبیر مصطفیٰ کے مدینے کی روشنی. شبیر مصطفیٰ کے مدینے کی روشنی. اس روشنی نے نور کا طوفان اٹھا دیا. کیا کہنے بھائی، اس روشنی نے نور کا طوفان اٹھا دیا، بیعت کا جو چراغ جلا تھا بجھا دیا. اللہم صلی اللہ محمد صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم.
ماشاءاللہ میں بڑا اچھا پڑھایا.
صلوات.
اللہم صلی اللہ
صلوات پہ چھپا.
اللہم صلی اللہ
محمد وعلى محمد.
اللہم صلی اللہ
شب کی بہت بہت مبارک ہو. مولا ابوالفضل عباس، حضرت امام صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم، امام جعفر صادق علیہ السلام، امام زین العابدین علیہ السلام، اور تمام جان بی بی زینب صلی اللہ علیہ کی بہت بہت مبارک ہو. ہمیں یہ تو معلوم ہے کہ جب کبھی ہم محفل سجاتے ہیں یا کبھی کوئی بھی میلاد یا مجالس وغیرہ تو ہماری بیوی تشریف لاتی ہیں. تو شیخ معاذ فرمائیں. فاطمہ آئی ہیں پھر دور، فاطمہ آئی ہیں بیٹوں کا قصیدہ سننے.
سبحان اللہ سبحان اللہ.
فاطمہ آئی ہیں بیٹوں کا قصیدہ سننے، جشن عباس میں جنت کا نظارہ ہوگا. صلوات.
اللہم صلی اللہ.
اور آج کی رات جو ہے वो अपनी दुआएं मांगने की रात है, दुआएं पूरी होती हैं और इसमें आप लोग दुआ मांगिए, अपनी मन्नतें मांगिए, नजर नियाज कीजिए और इसी सिलसिले में कुछ अशार में पेश करता हूँ। आओ आसमां वालों, भर के झोलियां ले लो।
क्या कहने वाह।
आओ आसमां वालों, भर के झोलियां ले लो। सैयदा की चौखट पर मुख्तसर नहीं मिलता।
बेशक बेशक।
सैयदा की चौखट पर मुख्तसर नहीं मिलता। जाकिरे अली कोई तेरे माँ सिवा मीसम। जाकिरे अली कोई तेरे माँ सिवा मीसम। मिंबरों पर मिलता है, डार पर नहीं मिलता। मिंबरों पर मिलता है, डार पर नहीं मिलता। जो जुल्म सहता है, ये दूसरे कुछ शेर फायदा फरमाए। ये हकीकत है जो आजकल के हालात हैं, उस पर सुनिएगा शेर। जो जुल्म सहता है हंसता दिखाई देता है। फायदा फरमाए। जो जुल्म सहता है हंसता दिखाई देता है, जो जुल्म करता है रोता दिखाई देता है। तारीफ का एलिमेंट मुलाजा फरमाए। अजीब बात है गैर मुस्लिमों के यहाँ, अजीब बात यह है गैर मुस्लिमों के यहाँ अल्लाम हुसैन का उठता दिखाई देता है। अल्लाम हुसैन का उठता दिखाई देता है। अजीब तरह के देखे हैं करबला के शहीद, अजीब तरह के देखे हैं करबला के शहीद। जख्म खाता है हंसता दिखाई देता है। जो जख्म खाता है हंसता दिखाई देता है। किसी भी मजहब व मिल्लत, किसी भी मजहब व मिल्लत की आंख से देखो, किसी भी मजहब व मिल्लत की आंख से देखो, यजीद आज भी रुसवा दिखाई देता है। अली के मुलाजा फरमाए शेर को, अली के बच्चों का इसार अगर अलग कर लो, अली के बच्चों का ईसार अगर अलग कर लो तो दीन एक खिलौना दिखाई देता है। तो दीन एक खिलौना दिखाई देता है। हुसैन हो गए सैराब अपने मकसद में, हुसैन हो गए सैराब अपने मकसद में, यजीद आज भी प्यासा दिखाई देता है। और एक कथा आज की शान में, अब्बास की शान में चार में से मदद शान। हैरान हूं इस अली की तमन्ना को क्या कहूं, हैरान हूं इस अली की तमन्ना को क्या कहूं। मैं नाखुदा कहूं कि खुदाए वफा कहूं, मैं नाखुदा कहूं कि खुदाए वफा कहूं। अब्बास देखकर तेरा किरदारे करबला, अब्बास देखकर तेरा किरदारे करबला, जी चाहता है तुझको भी मुश्किल कुशा कहूं।
Before I call up the Maulana to recite his lecture, I just want to say I am extremely thankful, and the community is thankful on behalf of you coming today to recite lecture at our center. And just wanted to say that, we're blessed to have you, even though you just landed like 24 hours ago from Pakistan coming over here. It's a huge blessing to have you over here. And inshallah, you will continue to come and to our community and to recite the lecture whenever you get the chance. And I just want to say that, I hope that inshallah your time over here is blessed and you have a good time. And Allah salawat, I want to call you to recite lecture.
Hare Salawat.
Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalam ala ashraf anbiya mursaleen. Habibi ilahi alameen. Abil Qasim Mustafa Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
وعلى أهل بيت الطيبين الطاهرين أما بعد قال الله في كتاب الكريم قل لا أسألكم أجرا عليهم أجرا إلا المودة في القربى. Say, I do not ask you for any reward except for love of my family. Assalamu alaikum, dear brothers and sisters. Jami'an rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This blessed verse in the Quran with Allah tells us that, say, O Muhammad, that he does not ask us anything for love of his family. What is this family? Who are these people that Allah and Rasulullah, in return for his service of giving us the religion of God, Islam, asked us to love them, the Ahlul Bayt. These individuals are who we will talk about today, who we are here today to celebrate the birth of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, the birth of Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam, the birth of Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam, and Sayyidah Zainab alayhi salam.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
But most importantly, we have to understand, why is their love so important for us? Why is their love ordained for us? Why is their love wajib for us? Why did Rasulullah tell us this? It is because when Rasulullah taught us Islam, it is they who continued it through their actions. It is they who we can look up to understand how to live as Muslims, how to live as ones who submit to God, how to look at how we can learn our akhlaq from, how to live our life, how to understand what our morals come from. We have to look at our lives through the lens of the Ahlul Bayt. And this is what we have to understand very importantly. It's good we learn their lives, but we have to understand, what can we learn from their lives to implement today in our daily lives today? And this is how we will follow in the footsteps of the Ahlul Bayt. We will try to see how close we are. I want all of us to ask ourselves this question: how close are we to the personality that is Imam Hussain alayhi salam? How close are we? If we are far away from that personality, we have to work on ourselves to become better and closer to Imam Hussain alayhi salam. That's something we have to understand. These celebrations, these majalis, these waladats, all of these are the best things we can do. As the brother said, we were visited by Sayyidah Fatima Zahra. The malaika are amongst us here. But if you do not leave these majalises, these lectures, changing, becoming better people, what was the point of being here? And this is something we all have to understand. And the only way to do this is to understand their lives and who they were. And why, you will understand why Rasulullah mandated their love for us. Once Imam Hussain alayhi salam was playing inside the masjid while Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. He was on the member giving a lecture to the people. And Imam Hussain alayhi salam, he fell down. And Rasulullah, he rushes down from the member and picks him up and, to make sure he's okay. And the people say, oh, he's just a kid, he just falls down normally. Why did you get down from the member, run towards him and pick him up? He says, I saved him right now, but one day this grandson of mine will save Islam. This grandson of mine will save Islam. And that's what he truly did. When we talk about the day of Ashura, Imam Hussain alayhi salam, he gave his life. But Islam, he gave his life and he revived Islam that day. The Islam we have today is because Imam Hussain alayhi salam and his sacrifice. Once they asked Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam, how do you know that your father was successful? He says, do you hear the adhan today? When you hear the adhan today, you know that Imam Hussain alayhi salam was successful. Now, there's a hadith that tells us one day, Nabi Musa alayhi salam, Allah had told him, and he narrates this to us, he says that people, they look for honor in the houses of kings, while honor is reserved for those who love me. And Imam Hussain alayhi salam is the perfect example of this hadith, because he did not look for honor in the houses of kings. The honor that he has today, no king in history has ever achieved. No one has remembered for 1400 years every gathering in every state across the world. Today, when I see the center in South Carolina, people who came here would have not imagined the center here today. People who came to the United States many years ago not imagine that the majalis in every state across the country, the name of Hussein lives on. The message of Imam Hussein and the message of Islam lives on. 1400 years, year after year, his name will live on. No king in history has this honor. No one in history has this honor. Why? What did he do? He gave his heart to Allah. He attached his heart to God, the Eternal. And Allah attached his heart to the millions of people throughout history today. This is why today, across the world, the biggest and largest gathering in the world is what? The gathering of Arba'in. It broke world records year after year. This year, 27 million. But what did he do? He gave his heart to Allah. And he taught us how to love God. People say, why do you love Imam Hussain so much? Now you understand why Rasulullah told us to love his family? Because who other than Imam Hussain taught us how to love Allah? Who taught us how to love Allah after Rasulullah? When on the day of Ashura, when his son in his hand was struck with the arrows, you know what he says? Oh Allah, I'm okay with what I'm going through because I know you are watching me. I'm okay with every calamity because God, I know you are watching me. This was Imam Hussain. This is the honor that he achieved. The honor that no one can achieve in history. The one honor that Ahlul Bayt achieved. Now, you see something very special about the birthdays I mentioned today. If you notice, they all died in the same month, and they were martyred in the same month, and they were all born in the same month. All of them. Allah attached them together. Their lives revolve around the same theme, the same ethics, the same morals, the same tawheed. And that's why they have died together, were martyred together, and they were born together in the same months. Because all of them taught us the same thing. If you look at the central themes of all of their lives, it was the love of God, the trust in God, and rahmah. This is something that we all need today and understand. And to understand how we want to live our lives today, we have to look at the world through their lens. This is how we will live our lives in their footpaths, in their footsteps. Because that's what it means to be a follower of Ahlul Bayt. When you say you're a Shia, what does that mean? You are the ones who follow Ahlul Bayt. Once a man came to Imam Muhammad alayhi salam, he says that, "Oh Imam, salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad." He says, "Oh Imam, I am one of your Shia." He says, "Do not give yourself this honorary title. Do you know what it means? It means that those who follow our every footsteps, those who do what we say to do and stay away from what we said to not to do. It's something you earn, not something you can just call yourself. It's an honorary title that you get yourself, to be a follower of the Ahlul Bayt. This is what it means. And the perfect example of this is the Ahlul Bayt and their companions. And I'll tell you one story. One day, there was a man who tried to go to Masjid al-Nabawi during the time of Rasulullah. And he wanted to sit in the front because the most barakah is in the front of the lecture. And every day he would try to go there, but he would never, ever get there in time. He would always be second row, third row. So one day he says that, I'm not going to go to sleep tonight. I'm going to stay up all night just so I can be the first one to sit in front of Rasulullah when he's giving his lecture. So he stays up all night. He leaves in the middle of the night, starts heading towards the Masjid al-Nabawi. He sees there's no footprints in the sand, only one set, so he knows they're Rasulullah's footprints. He says, yes, finally I'm going to achieve this. He goes to the masjid, he sees one man sitting in front already. This man was Salman al-Farsi. He says, oh Salman, either you slept here all night or you came from the sky because there's only one set of footprints. And Salman tells him something very beautiful. That's something I want everyone to pay attention to. He tells him, oh man, I walked in the same footsteps that Rasulullah walked in. The actual footsteps. Because everything that he does, of course, is guided by God, guided by Allah. And this is something that we have to learn today. Because you want to be a follower of Rasulullah, you want to be a follower of the Ahlul Bayt, walk in their footsteps, the footsteps of Rasulullah. This is how you will become a better person. And this is how you will learn how to live your life. Because honor is not achieved anywhere else in life. Death will come to all of us. But those who attach their name to the Ahlul Bayt will live on eternally forever. Will live on eternally forever. Because this life, it's temporary. You can work your whole life for achieving big houses, mansions, building this life up. But at the end, what are you doing for your akhirah? Once there was a story of a man, Rasulullah, he once asked Azrael, the angel of death, did you ever feel sad about taking someone's life? And he says, yes, there was one person. He was a king. He spent his whole life building his kingdom, and he wanted to conquer this one city. He worked his whole life for it. He got to the edge of the gate, and his army finally conquered it. But before he stepped inside, the order from Allah came and says, take his soul. It just goes to show you that this man, whatever we can do our whole lives, whatever we do in this life is left behind. Except those things you have done for Allah. Those things you have done for the sake of the Ahlul Bayt. Because one day, if you work for Ahlul Bayt today, when Allah and you are questioned by the angels, what did you do in this life? They may speak for you and say, this man, this woman, they work for us. They followed in our footsteps. Is that not what we want on the day of Qiyamah? Who does not want this? And this is why it's so important for us to understand what honor is, what morals are, what akhlaq is, and following their example. One of the most important themes from their life that we learn is tawakkul. Trusting in God. From Imam Hussain to Sayyidah Zainab to Hazrat Abbas to Imam Zain al-Abidin, all of them, the main thing we learn is that they trusted God and they were content with what God had given them. And that's something in this world today that we need more than anything. Right now, when we had this earthquake in Turkey, a lot of people's, faith was shattered. They were like, what's going on? But when you realize what really happened and how, looking at it from a different dimension, you understand that there's mercy in everything. Sometimes we may not understand God's plan, but Allah says in the Quran, with hardship comes ease. With hardship comes ease. There are many stories you may have heard of babies who were saved after 8-10 days. Which baby can survive 8 days without water, food, in freezing? I was actually in Turkey during that time. It was freezing cold. Who can survive? This way you can see that Allah's rahmah was there. Even in amidst of all the darkness you may have seen, Allah's rahmah was there. And some of the children, many people have heard the stories that they were saying that someone was there keeping them warm. when someone rescued them, they didn't see the person anymore. This is all God's plan. And when you look at it from one perspective, you see that, oh, how can you see mercy when all this death? But there's many things we have to understand, that this world is just temporary. Many of those people were living in areas where they were refugees. Allah took back his people. Allah took back those that were closest to him. And in that death, many hadiths tell us that those who die in these situations, in these hardships, when it comes to earthquakes or anything, that it is more of a blessing for them. That Allah has forgiven their sins. Those deaths are ease for them in their life. So there's many ways to look at these earthquakes and scenarios that happen and disasters. I heard someone say it's a punishment for the people. I don't like the people to think like that. Because God is not someone who's going around punishing people. God is Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. He reminds us of the 5 times a day in our prayers. Every prayer we recite Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. He's Ar-Rahman. So don't look at it from that lens. Because that's the default lens people look at things from. God punished these people. No. You don't know he did that. In those disasters, there's more reward than punishment. There's more reward for these people who die in these situations, that God gives them ease, erases their sins. There's one hadith that says that someone, if they know the reward of a fever in the afterlife, they figure out the reward that Allah has given them for that one fever they had in their life, they'll wish that they had a fever for the rest of their life. Oh Allah, why did you not give me a fever? Because this is what it means. With hardship comes ease. It's not after hardship. With every hardship, there's coming ease. This tawakkul, Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam, he has told us that it's like a spiritual drink. Only those who have drunk it will understand what it means to live this life. When Allah gives us these stories of the Ahlul Bayt, of the prophets in the Quran, and which he calls Ahsan al-Qasas, the best of stories, it's for us to understand what trusting in God gives us. In this life, when you face hardships, tawakkul sets you free. That one sajda gives you the power and independence more than anything else you can do in this life. Because even psychologically, you shift your worries away to God. And this is what Ahlul Bayt teach us from all their examples. This is what you learn. Because when, for example, something goes wrong in your life and you tried your best, you know that whatever that was, it was for your best. You should say Alhamdulillah 2 times for that situation. Because there's many times in many situations you see that people, for example, they missed their flight or something went wrong. I was reading the other day, the people who missed the Titanic. Many of them were saying they regretted it. At that moment, they were so sad they didn't miss this new ship that happened, that they could have gone on this voyage. Allah saved them. Many things happen in life that people start worrying that why did it go wrong? But later on, you realize that Allah was only looking out for you for your best. This is what tawakkul teaches us. If you look at the story of Nabi Yusuf, who was stuck inside a well, he became the king of Egypt. If you look at Nabi Musa, the mother who put her child, newborn, inside the cradle, inside a river, not knowing what's happened to her, Allah returned her to him as a messenger of God. Likewise, Sayyidah Zainab, what did she say? Ma raitu illa jamila. She saw nothing but beauty in this life. What beauty did she see? Historians have not realized, how can someone say, after seeing her entire family slaughtered, I see nothing but beauty? But today, what did I say in the beginning? Who is remembered 1400 years later, every single day, every single country, every single city, around the world? Imam Hussain. This is the beauty that Sayyidah Zainab saw. She trusted God, and look what happened today. Where is the grave of Yazid? Does anyone know where it is today? No one even knows where it is. Where are the palaces of the Mayyids? Empty today. But whose name is remembered across the world? Imam Hussain. Now do you understand Ma raitu illa jamila? What beauty she saw? She trusted God. She was the mountain of patience. And even from her birth, from her you understand what Sayyidah Zainab is. You learn from the story of her birth. One day, Imam Ali alayhi salam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. One day Imam Ali alayhi salam was teaching her how to count. And he had Sayyidah Zainab in his hand and he says, Kul wahid. That means say one. She would say one, wahid. Then he tells her, Kul itnain, say two. She would not say two. And he questioned her. He said it again, say two. She said, I would not say two. So he asked her, and she says that, how can the tongue that says one say two? This is Sayyidah Zainab. How can the tongue that says, professes one, say two? Even from that, she had that insight and that knowledge from as a baby. This is how attached she was to Tawheed. This is who she was. This is who the Ahlul Bayt are. This is why I keep reminding, and this is why Rasulullah told us, their love is your repayment for the Islam that we gave you. Because understanding them will keep you on the path of Islam. Understand their personalities, their morals, their ethics will keep you in the path of Islam. She was the mountain of patience. No one had taught us tawakkul like she did. When she told Yazid, your days will come to an end, you'll never be able to erase our remembrance. At that time, when people see her caged in the courts of the Mayyids, alone, people would have said, what is she saying? What do you mean our days will come to an end? We have the empires, palaces, everything now. Well, what do you mean we can't erase your remembrance? They're thinking this, and today, their graves are nowhere to be found. SubhanAllah. This is what we learn. This is tawakkul, trusting in God. Attaching yourself to Allah makes you independent from the worries of this world. And it's something that all of us have to understand and learn. It's the most important thing. It'll free you from everything. And you know that tawakkul does not mean you don't do anything in life and you trust God to make everything better. But tawakkul means that you try your best and then trust God to do everything else. But if you tried your best and it didn't go your way, then you know that wasn't meant for you in the first place. Because Allah is what? Our wakil. And His name is Al-Wakil as well. What does that mean? The one that's taking care of all your affairs in every matter. Understand this. In every matter, He's being your wakil. And I don't have to translate what wakil means because it's the same thing in Urdu and Farsi and Arabic at the same time. So all of you understand what wakil means. He's being your wakil in every situation. And this is what Ahlul Bayt teach us in every step of their life, no matter what happens. And the second part of this was not only trusting God, but being content with what? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. The second part is being content with what Allah does, and no matter what happens. In the Quran it says, "Irja rabbika radiyatan mardiyah." That means return to your Lord while He is pleased with you, but you are pleased with Him. The same contentness is what Imam Hussain alayhi salam taught us when he says that, "Oh Allah, I'm okay with everything because I know you're watching me." The same contentness is when you look at, it's also the birthday of Imam Abedi alayhi salam. When you look at his life and you understand which person in history went through the more torture and seen the most hardships than he has seen. Not only did he see all his family members martyred, he saw all his women tortured, but yet, if you read his book, Sahifa Sajadiyah, this is the best book of supplications that we have in Islam until today. From anyone, from any school of thought, from any member of the Ahlul Bayt, from any scholar until today, no one has written books like Sahifa Sajadiyah. And most of those du'as are thanking Allah, are ways to thank Allah. SubhanAllah. Now do you understand? The one that's seen the most torture in this life, the most hardships in this life, wrote books and taught us how to thank Allah. This is what it means to be content with God. And he even asked Allah for forgiveness in half of those du'as. Now, can you even fathom someone who saw his entire family slaughtered? He's asking, "Oh Allah, forgive me. Bring me closer to you." Now, do you understand why they're the Ahlul Bayt? Why they're the Prophet's family? And why the Prophet told us to love them? Because what did they teach us? If we truly learn the lessons from their life, you don't know where our life will take us. we will reach that status that I was talking about in the beginning. The status of those companions of Ahlul Bayt. And today, Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. One day he told Al-Hadith, and he says that I wish I can be there during the time of my grandson Al-Mahdi. Why? He says because those companions will be the best companions that anyone has ever had. And today, I was talking to this brother here as well about this conversation, that today people say Labbaik ya Hussain every day. Does anyone know what it means? What does Labbaik ya Hussain mean? Can anyone answer me? It's a question. Someone has to know. I'm here. Okay, it's the sister answer. See?
MashaAllah.
There we go. Salawat for the sisters. Salli ala Muhammad. It means I'm here for you, Ya Hussain. But what is that the answer? Is it a chant? No, it's not. We say it like a chant, but it's an answer. It's an answer to the call. He says that, is there anyone there to help me? It's the answer to that call. That's what Labbaik ya Hussain means. Now today we say it like a chant, not understanding what it really means, except that one sister, apparently. But it's something that we say we're here for Ya Hussain. But today, how are we here for Imam Hussain today? I want someone to tell me this too. To follow his footsteps, exactly, right? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. The brothers redeemed themselves. Thank you. Yes, but it also means that today, who is the Hussain of our time? We have an Imam today. Imam Sahib is Zaman. Labbaik ya Hussain today means to be there for the Imam of our time, brothers and sisters. That's how we answer the Imam's call at that time, because that call was not for Imam Hussain at that time only. His call lasts for every Imam, every generation. Wow. And today we're here, we're the companions of the Imam Zamana today. And this is something we have to realize today. We have a responsibility today. While he's here, but we can't see him, does not mean that we do nothing. We work ourselves to become better Muslims. We work to follow the footsteps of Ahlul Bayt. We live according to their morals. We spread their morals to the world as best as we can. Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam, he's Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. He says, "O our followers, O our Shia, be a zina for us, as an adornment for us in this life." And how can we do that today? Do many of us even remember our Imam today? Other than the Wiladats and the majlises, but every day. There's many ways to do this. Not everyone has to go and study in Qom or Karbala or Najaf. But everyone, every single one of you, and the best way to do this is just by your akhlaq. Just by your akhlaq. Being a good human being. This is how you will spread Islam in the world today. Because when Rasulullah first spread Islam, why did people come to him? Because he was known as the truthworthy, the trustworthy, the truthful, the best of humans, with the best of manners. Now today, when all of you will go into your workplaces, your jobs, your colleagues will see you, your coworkers will see you, your students, your fellow students will see you having the best of manners. Like this person, Mahdi, he's the best, most trustworthy, the best of human beings. And then you see in Islam, someone saying, oh, Muslims are this, Muslims this. And that person is watching the news. He says, no, I know a Muslim. I know this person. They're not like this at all. You understand? This is how you change the image of Islam in the world today. All of you. Number one, just by being good human beings. Because what did Rasulullah say? I came down. He says, if I can summarize my mission today, it is to fix people's akhlaq. That's what it means today, to be a Muslim. Akhlaq goes hand in hand with all your worship. Because you do all your acts of worship, all your prayers. But if you have bad akhlaq, it's pointless. The point of all your du'as and salat and everything is to help you bring you closer to God. And as you get closer to God, you get closer to His qualities. Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, Al-Adil. You become just, you become merciful. This is what Ahlul Bayt were. You want to see idolatry, look at Ahlul Bayt. You want to see mercy, you look at Ahlul Bayt. Once you see, even Imam Hussain, you look at his life from start to finish, even at the end in the Battle of Ashura or the days leading beyond that, he gave water to his enemies. He fed the horses, the water he knew that he was going to need. He gave it to them. This is the mercy that we see from the Ahlul Bayt. No matter what happens, Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam, he spent his life, and all the Imams spent their life serving the people. He would go out at night, hiding his face, handing food and bags of food to people. That's what he would do. And no one even knew it was him until he died, until he was martyred. When they were doing his ghusl, they see a hunch on his back, and they see that's from the bag he used to carry. This was Imam Zain al-Abidin. And when the people used to find out that no one's giving us food anymore, they used to say, what happened? Where's this person? They find out he'd been martyred. These were the Ahlul Bayt. These are who we look up to. This is how we have to live. If you want to make the world a better place, live a better life, follow their footsteps. Because today, this is what we need to do. This world, people are busy chasing dunya. But dunya will not get you anywhere. The recent study by the National Health and Drug Abuse Survey has told us that 16 million people in America are depressed every single year. 16 million people are depressed every single year. Why? Because they're chasing dunya. What did God tell us? Your heart will never be content unless with the remembrance of God. People, many of you might buy new houses, buy new cars. When you do buy this, what happens? You treat it like a baby for like a month or two. What happens after that? You want a new car. You want to live somewhere else. You want a new house. All these temporary things that you have, you never feel actual contentment in life. You don't. You always want more and more and more. But when you attach your heart to Allah, when you attach your heart to your faith, you will find true peace. This is something that we realize. In this remembrance today, do you not feel happy just by hearing the name of Imam alayhi salam? Just by hearing the name of Hussain alayhi salam. You find peace just by their name. Imagine by following their footsteps, what you can achieve. This is something that we must realize. And there was another survey that also tells us that those people who are depressed, most of them, 60% of those people were depressed because they attached themselves and their happiness to materialistic things. And the people who weren't depressed were the people who had attached their happiness to non-materialistic things such as faith and spirituality. These are actual surveys that tell us what faith truly does to us and what chasing this life in dunya will do to you. Yes, it's okay to have a decent house and decent place to live, but never get attached to it so much. Know everything has come from Allah and Allah can take it back anytime. This is what we learn from the Ahlul Bayt. This is what we learn from the people, because if you look at the tragedies that have occurred in the Ahlul Bayt, what did the people go against the Imam their time for? For the dunya. Never be so attached that you will give up your deen for the dunya. What is the value of this life? What is it? There's one example from Harun al-Rashid. As you know, he was one of the Abbasid caliphs who did a lot of dhulm against Ahlul Bayt. But Bahlul, he used to give examples by teaching people lessons through examples. And Bahlul told him, "Oh Harun, you act like a king. What is your kingdom truly worth?" He says it's worth so much from here to here. Bahlul says, "Okay, so what if one day you're stranded in a desert and you're thirsty and I bring you a cup of water? How much would your kingdom would you give me?" He says, "Okay, Bahlul, I'll give you half my kingdom." He says, "Okay, see, so half your kingdom is already worth half a glass of water." Now he says, "What if you couldn't release that water? You had a disease and you needed a doctor. What would you pay that doctor?" He says, "The other half of my kingdom." He says, "So all your kingdom you have is not worth one of the blessings of God." Understand, this is what life is. This whole life that we live. So attach yourself to God. Work towards that path, and this is how you'll live a better life. We are so attached to this dunya. I was watching the other day an interview of women who were asked this question. And there were influencers on Instagram and social media. They were asked this question: would you delete your Instagram or divorce your spouse or leave your other significant other? You know what they said? We would not delete our Instagram. We would rather leave our spouse or do this. This is how attached they have become. It's ridiculous to see this. But this is why we're so busy attaching ourselves to dunya. You know, the other day I seen, what happens if your phone dies today? Can someone survive without their phone dying? No, you're gonna rush to charge. Where's the charger?
Crazy.
Where's this, right? Exactly. But our spiritual soul also has a battery. Our soul has a battery. How many of us are actually looking at the battery of our soul and caring about our soul's battery? You know, our spiritual recharge is the salat that we do, the worship that we do, the good acts that we do. But most of us, you know, we face these difficult situations. How many of us turn to the Quran? How many of us turn to salat? Or do we look at other things to find happiness? Yet our phone will die, we'll go crazy trying to find a charger. This will happen, but our own soul, what is the price of your soul? Imam Ali tells us that the price of your soul is nothing less than Jannah. Remember this. What is your worth? Nothing less than Jannah. But how are we treating our soul today? Honestly, ask yourselves, every one of us ask yourselves this question. Less than our phone's value, that's what it is so far. Our phone's battery, our Instagram, social media profiles, this dunya wealth is worth more than our own soul. So work towards building a life for your akhirah. Most of us are worried about how many people have 401ks. You should have actually 401ks, but it's good that you don't have. How many people are saving for retirement? Okay, good. We have one brother. Retirement this life, right? Everyone's busy. I always talk to a lot of people. I used to work in finance actually. And a lot of people would always, come worried about retirement. And a lot of Muslim brothers would come too about their retirement. How much we save, maximize our savings, do all this. But I ask you all, how many of you are actually looking to save for the real retirement? Where's your real retirement? The akhirah. You're busy, so busy saving for this life. How many are actually saving for your akhirah? There's once a story of a man. He was a CEO of a company. He was to build houses. And he was the best house builder you can find in that time. He wanted to retire and go back to enjoy his life now. He's like, I'm tired of working. I want to go enjoy my life now. So he goes to the CEO of the company, says, I want to retire. The CEO says, okay, you can retire, but before you retire, I want you to do one final thing. Do one final project. Build one final house. And with this house, you have all the tools of the company available to you. All the tools, anything that you want available. And he says, okay, fine. But he was tired. He wanted to go back to live his life. He's done. He says he rushed his job, built a house with a shaky foundation, not a great house. He goes to the CEO and says that here's the keys. Goodbye, I'm out. The CEO says, take back the keys. This is our gift to you. He had all the tools available. Every single tool to build that perfect house for his retirement. But what did he do? He wanted to go to his life, enjoy his life. Likewise, brothers and sisters, all of us today, Allah has given us all the tools to prepare for our actual retirement. How many of us are utilizing them? I ask you today, how many of us are utilizing these tools for our actual retirement? Imam Hassan Asri alayhi salam, he says, live in this life as a farmer because you will reap what you sow in the akhirah. This is what he says. You will reap what you sow. And this is something that all of us must understand. Think about the akhirah. Because there's once a saying, and sometimes it's hard for us to understand what does it mean, akhirah. It's vague concepts for us to understand. But Allama Tabatabai, he says something a very beautiful quote. He says that when you put your finger in the ocean and you take it out, that little drop that stays in your finger, think about this as this dunya. And think about the endless ocean as the akhirah. Now, who would give up here the ocean, the endless ocean for that little drop of water on that finger? Would anyone here do this? No, right? And that's something we must realize and we must do. Work every single day working and following the footsteps of Ahlul Bayt.
Subhanallah.
This is something that we must realize. These are who the Ahlul Bayt were. And this is what they have taught us. If we follow their footsteps, we will live the best of lives. And it's our responsibility. You know, all of us, alhamdulillah, well, I'm not sure who was born Muslim here or not, if someone was, but most of us, whoever was born Muslim or was guided to Islam, we have no excuse. God will say to us, you found the religion of God, my religion. And even beyond that, you had my Ahlul Bayt as examples. You were their lovers. Your responsibility is to live up to that message. What did you do? Did you keep it to yourselves? You know, when the Ahlul Bayt are for humanity. And this is why I love to see centers like this in areas which are far away from many Muslim communities. Because when the first thing that Imam Hadi Sharif, he comes back, our hadith tells us, he says, "Oh Ahl al-Alam, oh people of the world." He addresses humanity. He's not saying my Shia, he's not saying my people, he says, "Oh, the people of the world." Imam Hussain was for humanity. His message is for humanity. And I want all of us to work towards spreading that message. Because what he taught us is what will save humanity today. His principles is what the world needs. And humanity, people realize this. You know, there's a charter in the United Nations about the government of Imam Ali. And it was given to the Arab nations to follow based on those principles. And they even quoted a quote he said from Imam in his letter to Malik Ashtar. We all hear this famous quote. Imam Ali says that, you know, one is either brother in faith or you're equal in humanity. But the rest of that letter is very beautiful as well. He says that, "Oh Malik, understand that these people that you're about to govern are just like you. Forgive them as you want to be forgiven by Allah. There are people who commit mistakes, but forgive them as you want to be forgiven by Allah." And this is where it comes towards rahmah, the last part of tonight's lecture that I want to discuss on, the rahmah of Ahlul Bayt and what they taught us. You know, and I'll end with one final story of Malik al-Ashtar. So there was a man walking, and there was a baker. He wanted to make fun of this man, so he threw a piece of bread at him. And the man kept walking by. Another person in front of the baker says, "Do you know who that man was? That was Malik al-Ashtar, the leader of the army of Imam Ali alayhi salam. He can have your head in a second." And he gets scared. He starts rushing towards Malik. And Malik is walking away, walks away a little fast. He starts following him. He says, "Where did Malik go?" He sees Malik had entered a masjid, and he's doing salat by the time he got there. When he gets up, Malik, and he finishes salat, the baker runs towards Malik. He says that, "Oh Malik, I'm sorry, I didn't know who you were." He said, "Don't worry. I was here to pray salat, to ask Allah to forgive you for what you did to me." You understand? This is the mercy of the Ahlul Bayt and the companions of Ahlul Bayt. So be mercy in this world. You know, people always ask me, "What have you learned in your studies? What have you learned everything?" I say, be a mercy in this world. That's it. We're all agents of Rahman. Agents, the one who is Rahman. You want to be mercy? Rasulullah was Rahmatul Alameen. Be mercy in this world and see how far you will get. You know, when the angels said to Allah, "Why are you creating human beings that will create bloodshed in this world?" In the Quran, He says, "You do not know what I know." Allah was talking about all of your potentials to be the best of creation. He created us the best of creation. You have so much potential within you. Imam Ali says you have within you Alim al-Akbar, the greater universe. Never think yourself as little, because what's inside you is Alim al-Akbar. Everything is inside you. The potential to reach a status higher than the angels. Those companions, Ahlul Bayt, those companions who support Imam Hussain on the day of Ashura, we say salam to them, and it says that they are amongst their name, famous amongst the stars. These are those people. Attach yourself to Ahlul Bayt. Like I said today, all of us today are companions of the Imam of our time. Never think yourself as anything else. Never think of yourself as far away. All of you today here are the companions of our Imam today. Think yourself as such and be as such. And this is how we will honor the Ahlul Bayt. Because the best way to honor them and their sacrifices and everything they've done for us is to follow in their footsteps. And with that, brothers and sisters, I ask Allah to make us steadfast and loyal in the path of the Ahlul Bayt. Ask Allah for us to work towards preparing the world for the return of Imam Sahib Zaman. I ask Allah to pray for all the souls who were lost in the earthquake and who was martyred, and those families who are suffering today in Turkey and Syria. Please pray for them and all around the world today. Ask Allah for all of us, for the Imam of our time, to be happy with all of us. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Sallallahu Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad.
So, you're going to have a cake and then group pictures. Alhamdulillah, Jazakallah.
So, we're gonna do a little cake cutting, and then we're gonna have a group picture in the front over here. So we're gonna get that together real quick.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.